Welcome to episode 11 of The Curious Cook. And Athena, I just have to say, you're looking fierce today.
Thanks, Jace. This is the costume for my character Sarah from the film An Evening with Donald Kopinski. We just wrapped on an all-night shoot, and I came straight here from that. You know, you guys know I'm an actress, and our guests tonight are the creators of No Shade, which is a really popular queer web series. I actually appeared in one of the episodes.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to meet them. And we're making some really lovely treats for them today. We're making pignoli pancetta praline, which is really just a fancy way of saying bacon candy.
And it has an alliteration to it.
It's gonna be delicious. Today we are making praline pancetta with pignolis, which are pine nuts. And I first had praline bacon down south, and that's like when you take bacon and crumble up pecans and brown sugar, and it turns it into bacon candy, and it's kind of amazing. But this is that elevated a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like really fancy bacon.
Really fancy bacon. And how could bacon candy be bad?
Nothing bad about it.
Nothing bad at all.
Unless you're Jewish or vegetarian, but we can't please everybody every time,
Right.
so let's go on.
And our guests today are all about it. So.
Yeah.
Well, first we have our Silpat lined baking sheet, and again, Silpat's just going to keep all this from sticking because there's bacon and there's sugar, and if we didn't do that, it would just stick and be an awful mess. So we have pancetta here, and this is 6 ounces of pancetta from Iowa, best pancetta in the world, in my humble
They make
opinion.
really good pancetta and they make really good Jaces.
They do indeed. And so I had my the butcher slice it super thin, so like paper thin, as thin as you can get it. And what we're gonna do, and pancetta is pork belly that's been rolled and cured. And what we're gonna do is peel it up very carefully.
Want to help you here?
Yes, please, and place it on the silpat here. All right, so the next step, now that our pancetta is all trayed up, we're gonna take a few thyme sprigs.
Can I smell it first?
Yes, of course. Thyme is one of my favorite herbs. It's very earthy and floral, and it kind of goes with the honey and the pine nut things that we got going on. So we're just gonna toss whole sprigs.
Doesn't actually have a scent. I'm an idiot.
No, we're just gonna toss whole sprigs on here.
Okay.
And then we'll pick them off at the end. And that's a very like traditional French way of doing things. It's very fancy.
Ah oui, c'est vrai.
C'est vrai. C'est très vrai.
C'est vrai. Ah bien. Excellent.
Excellent. That looks good to me.
Okay.
And then the tip to getting very flat bacon, or pancetta in this case, is to take a second silpat, place it on top, and then top it with a baking sheet. And that weight is going to keep those pancetta nice and flat until they'll be perfect little discs when we're done.
Amazing.
And then the other tip for perfect bacon or pancetta is to start it in a cold oven. This is the first time that we've ever not preheated the oven, because it should be waiting for you. But we're going to pop this into a cold oven, turn it up to 400 degrees, and let it go for 20 minutes. And then we'll pull it out, check it, make sure that fat's rendered off and it's getting nice and crisp. And then we'll add our pine nuts and honey. So our pancetta is crisping in the oven, and while that's going, we are going to pulse our pignolis, also known as pignolas or pine nuts. There you go, for the lay person. And actually,
For the lay person. What are you, posh now?
I know, I'm so fancy. A funny story about pine nuts. Make sure that you get your pine nuts from a very reliable source. I was working at a country club down in Florida, and I might have been munching on some pine nuts that were supposed to be going into a dish, and I noticed that everything started to taste like rust. Like
Everything that you ate.
everything that I ate tasted like metal, and I told my chef about it, and he was like, "You have pine mouth!" And pine mouth is what you get when you eat pine nuts that are from illegitimate trees or infected trees or from China, essentially. Pine nuts from China. Avoid those. Korean pine nuts are good and Italian pine nuts are good. No Chinese pine nuts.
How long did it last for?
For 3 days, everything I ate tasted like I was sucking on a penny. It was awful.
Awful.
Let's pop these into our food processor here. And we're just gonna pulse it until they're finely ground. All right, so our pine nuts are finely ground. Just gonna pop them out. Put them into this bowl here.
Oh, the aroma is beautiful.
Doesn't it smell nice? That it's kind of floral. Like I get a flower sort of vibe from pine nuts. And like I said, this is traditionally made with brown sugar and pecan, which make equally delicious praline. But I wanted to,
Change
elevate
it up.
it. Yeah.
Elevate it.
So now we're gonna add a half a cup of honey powder, also known as honey crystals.
Honey crystals. That's so cool. I've never heard of honey. What are some other uses of honey powder?
It's really good for dry applications like sprinkling on popcorn or on top of baked goods or
chips.
Yeah, chips. You can put it on chips. You can put it on anything, really. Or it makes a really good ingredient in a dry rub for pork.
Whoa.
I know, right?
That sounds insane. Yeah, blowing minds.
So you can just add that right in.
All of it?
All of it.
Woohoo!
And we'll just mix this together. And this will kind of make like, there's enough fat in that pine nut that'll make a bit of a paste. And then we're just gonna pat this down on top of our pancetta and it'll turn into a crust. That sugar will caramelize and turn crispy and nutty.
This is so simple, but I cannot wait to eat it. I'm kind of dying of anticipation.
Bacon candy.
Bacon candy, what's
Bacon
happening?
Candy. I just want you all to think about that for a moment. I can smell that thyme and that pancetta. I think it's ready to come out.
Yes.
Are you ready for the reveal?
I am so ready.
All right.
I've been smelling it for 20 minutes.
Ooh. Ready?
Ta-da. Wow.
So it's starting to get brown, but it's not all the way crisp yet because we still wanted to crisp a little bit more with that.
Yeah.
And do you see there's a little bit of fat collected on that sheet tray?
Yep.
I'm gonna pour it into here.
Okay.
And we're gonna save it for another use. Like making your eggs in.
Scrambling eggs, yeah.
Or cooking your popcorn in.
Whoa.
I know, right?
Bacon popcorn with some honey powder.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
We can go so many places with the dish. So I'm just gonna pick off these thyme sprigs. So the flavor is in there. We just don't want those big, nasty sprigs in there. And that's like, I throw it in when I do soups, when I do anything really, rice, beans. So we're gonna take our honey pine nut mixture. I'm gonna put a spoonful right on top here.
Wow, whoa, that's a lot. This is gonna be so good.
It's gonna be really good.
There's that Midwestern helping size.
I know, right?
I was like, oh, we'll sprinkle it. No, we're gonna drown them. Honey and nuts, awesome.
Everything in moderation, except bacon. Now that we've portioned all of our honey powder out, we're just gonna very gently, with clean hands, tamp that mixture down. And that'll just help it adhere a little bit. All right, and now we're gonna put it back into the oven, still at 400 degrees, without the second silpat. And that's just gonna caramelize, and then when I pull them up, they'll be ready.
Amazing.
Ooh. That already smells so good, and once you add that honey, we're gonna smell it. It's gonna be incredible.
I can't wait.
I wish you could be here to smell that
I
with
know,
us.
you have to make it yourself and tell us if it tastes just as good as we think it's gonna taste.
Our praline pancetta have been in the oven for 10 minutes after we added that honey and pine nut mixture.
Yeah.
I can smell them, they smell sweet and caramelized.
I can't wait.
And here they are, you can see that the sugar is kind of melted. They're getting a little bit shiny.
Nice.
And the pancetta is nice and crisp. And then they are a little bit delicate at this point. So you want to use like a spatula and lift them up. And we'll plate them out.
Amazing.
Excellent. And then just to add a little bit of green to the plate, we'll place a couple sprigs of thyme here and one over here. Wow. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
I believe we're ready for our guests.
Yes.
Shall we?
We shall. Welcome David Brandon and Terry Toro from No Shade. Welcome to our show.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming, guys. We prepared some pinoli pancetta praline for you. So help yourself. It's bacon candy.
It's like a chip.
What is pancetta?
A pancetta is just a bacon that's been rolled up and cured that way, so it comes in this nice little round as opposed to a strip. It's just fancy bacon.
Okay.
So can you tell us a little bit about how No Shade came about and what your roles are on the show?
Sure. Yeah, I'll take that one. My partner, boyfriend, Sean Anthony, who created the show, we were all working with Donnie Do-Right, who plays Corey on the show. We were playing in a web series called Goons vs. Gays. And that wasn't exactly a scripted web series, it was just more skit-based. So Sean wanted to do something that had a story and had characters that people could connect with and things like that. So he started writing it out, And he's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do a web series. And I'm like, okay. You know, he knew David already prior to the project, and, you know, brought him along, and then we were looking for a transgender female. Me and Corey was already a part of it, and it just worked together like magic. And my role in the show, other than playing Eric, is I provide the music for the show, and I help out with little things behind the scenes. Like, I'll be acting one minute, and then I'm holding the boom mic. So I just fill in the spaces.
A man of many talents.
Yeah. I play Noel on the show, and I met this great guy. I knew Tamara, who played the transgender female on the show, so I brought her on the show. And again, like Terry said, it just turned out to be magic. So.
And what's the concept behind No Shade?
I would say it kind of focuses on Noel's character and his friends. Noel's character, he's going through a tough time with his mother. He's coming into, he's learning about his sexuality. He's just in this whole new world, and he doesn't really understand it. So his friends try to lead him in this world, but what they do is kind of lead him the wrong way.
When are you gonna do the damn thing?
Look, y'all make it sound so easy. How am I supposed to know if I'm a top or a bottom?
Whatever you do, just do it safe. Use a condom.
Or no.
Don't let nobody put no gravy on your corn.
Don't let them put no hot sauce on your chicken wing without no freaking plastic on it, okay? It stays in the plastic.
Okay, all the way in the plastic.
Wrap it up.
Like saran wrap?
All the way
All
up.
the way.
You guys are kind of blowing up on YouTube right now, and I think it's really cool that a queer-oriented web series can do so well, and like that's what we're trying to do here on The Curious Cook too. No Shade is billed as a queer web series. How many of the cast and crew are gay or transgendered or lesbian or queer in any sense?
We would have to ask how many are straight.
Are there straight people involved?
Yes.
Yeah, two.
So obviously our viewers can see you on YouTube. No Shade is the name of the web series. Is there any other websites or platforms you guys are on? Or?
I'm David Brandon everywhere. Just find me like that. With the Y.
All right, same with me, Terry Toro, Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, I have a Facebook fan page as well. I think it's under the same thing. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting us.
Little bubbles.
It's telling me it's ready.
It is. It's saying, Jace, I belong in your mouth.
Do you hear that?